Let's get focused, man. We got a fight to worry about here. Good money, good money.
Us boxers, we've been thinking of the same combinations for a long, long time. To see what are good ways to enter, exit, and land combinations at the same time. At the end of the day, you're dodging punches all day.
And when you have a chance to make it out, it gives you that different look on life. It make you train bigger than just your small town or your hard times that you've been through. It's crazy to me that who would know I'll be that guy. One night
I know what song you listen to. I know what song he listen to.
Gervonta Davis, my first time watching him. I seen him a video on Instagram, man. I looked up his highlights too. That dude's a beast, man. He's great speed, great defense in those uppercuts, man. I mean, I appreciate boxing. You know, I'm not a hater, man. If I see somebody I think is good, man, I'll talk good about him. You know, some people they just see boxing and they don't appreciate it. They talk bad about him. But me, I see a good fighter and I respect.
Gervonta Davis is now reportedly training with David Benavidez' father, Jose Benavidez Sr. And honestly, that wasn't something many boxing fans saw coming.
You're trying to land the best punches. You're trying to make the highest possible decisions in your head. And the fights, everything is do or die. When you take the hesitation away, sometimes you really know, believe in yourself, believe in your skills. I'm not trying to let fear, basically, that's what it is.
I knew I'd be big, but I never knew that I would be like the guy that actually like break them doors. Calvin believed in me. Calvin believed in me no matter what. That's what was the important piece of me staying focused and I know I have somebody that's counting on me. Calvin was making sure that I was on the right track. And whoever go against me, Calvin was standing beside me. You know what I mean? Calvin was that guy that had my back for sure.
That's what we do. Get ready for this.
The lecture begins with a classic moral dilemma. Imagine you are driving a trolley at high speed when you see 5 workers ahead on the track and the brakes have failed. You cannot stop the trolley, but you can switch it onto another track where only 1 worker is standing. Most people would choose to change tracks because they believe saving 5 lives at the cost of 1 is the better outcome. But then the situation changes. Imagine you are standing.
The last run of the camp, right here with all the guys. You know, I just want to thank Sam.
Yeah, this Santa Cruz out here today.
You
gotta let it burn, baby. Let it burn. Mind over matter, son. Mind over matter. Ain't nobody doing no shit like this. Come in the desert. Trying to stay away from the desert. He come in the desert.
I want to thank Poncho. I want to thank Tristan. I want to thank my father. I want to thank my brother. Thank my wife, my kids, and everybody for giving me the energy I needed. It was a great training camp, and I feel like this is going to be the best fight to date. And then after this, you know, it's just going to be legendary work. But, you know, this camp really meant a lot to me, and I wanted to end this training camp like this. Nice hike to the top.
Coming up here, I was always that kid that know when the time to buckle down and things like that. Like, I know when it's time to get serious. You know, I know how to focus, you know, no matter what's going on around me. That's what made me so special and why I came so far.
Standing on a bridge and can save 5 workers only by pushing a large man onto the track, killing him and stopping the trolley. Most people who supported changing tracks would now refuse to push the man. This raises an important question. If the number of lives saved is what matters, why does the second situation feel so different? The discussion shows that people often judge an action not only by its result, but also by the nature of the action itself. The same issue appears in medical situations. Most people would save 5 injured patients instead of 1.
I think like we're about 12,000 feet right now in the elevation. Finished with my prayers. You know, we had like about 20-minute prayer right here. For me, this run means a lot to me symbolically. You know, I made it to the top. You know, I've made it to the top of the mountain countless times, and with the power, the energy, and the protection from God, I keep making it up, and I keep, you know, passing the threshold. So, you know, I know where I am. I know where God stands in my heart. I know where Jesus Christ stands in my heart, and you know, we're just gonna keep making it to the top, and in His name, we're gonna keep fighting.
Yeah, the bolts.
That's all I want to know. Yeah, both of them. I don't think right, bro. I don't think right. You feel me?
We gonna eat. That's it. All right. We gonna argue, bro. We gotta argue. We gonna eat. We ain't gotta argue.
If only one group could receive treatment, yet they would not kill a healthy person and use his organs to save 5 others. These examples introduce 2 major approaches to morality. Consequentialist reasoning says an action is right when it produces the best overall result, such as saving the greatest number of people. Categorical reasoning says some actions are simply wrong, regardless of how beneficial the outcome might be. The lecture explains that utilitarianism, developed most famously by Jeremy Bentham, is the major example of consequentialist thinking. Bentham argued that people are guided by pleasure and pain, so the morally...
There you go. Good. There you go.
When he get in that ring, he's on a mission. Because he understands that he got to put his pants on, training wheels going. You got what you asked for. Let's get it now.
Slow it down. 30 seconds.
Right choice is the one that creates the greatest overall happiness and reduces suffering. This idea is often summarized as seeking the greatest good for the greatest number. But the lecture then tests that principle with a real historical case involving 4 sailors whose ship sank in the South Atlantic. The survivors were Captain Dudley, First Mate Stevens, Sailor Brooks, and 17-year-old cabin boy Richard Parker. They escaped in a lifeboat with almost no food or water. After many days without supplies, Parker became extremely weak after drinking seawater and appeared close to death.
Obviously, some rumors circulating that Tank working with Jose Benavidez.
Yeah, I heard it, I'm not sure if it's true, but if it is, then he's a grown man, got a right to do what he wants, Whatever he decides to do, I told you before, I support him, and no love lost. Been knowing him since he was 7. Great guy, man.
Yeah.
On the 19th day, Dudley suggested drawing lots to decide who should die so the others could survive, but Brooks refused, so no lottery took place. The next day, Dudley and Stevens decided that Parker should be killed. Dudley prayed, then stabbed Parker in the neck, and the 3 surviving men lived on his body for several days before they were rescued. After returning to England, Dudley and Stevens were arrested and argued that they had acted out of necessity, believing it was better for one person to die, so...
Thoughts on Tank versus Devin at 147?
Man, that would be a good fight, but Tank is 135 pounds. Could have happened when Devin was at 35, but he was shot up.
Yeah.
Tank is small. He's not scared, he ain't running, he ain't ducking, he's small in stature,
3 could survive. The class was asked whether their actions were morally acceptable. A minority defended them, arguing that extreme hunger and the need to survive could justify their actions. Others strongly disagreed, saying that no one has the right to decide that another person's life is less valuable. The discussion then turned to consent. Some students argued that if Parker had agreed to sacrifice himself, the situation would be morally different. Others said that even consent would not make the killing acceptable, especially because the circumstances were desperate and Parker could have been pressured. The class also considered whether a fair lottery would change the situation. Some believed that if everyone had agreed beforehand to draw lots and accept the result, the sacrifice could be justified because everyone would have been treated equally. Others still believed killing Parker would be wrong, no matter what procedure was used. These arguments revealed...
There was an interview with Floyd Mayweather, and they were asking him, what's his favorite fighters today? Mentioned David Benavidez, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Devin Haney, but they didn't mention Tank. Lots of people felt like, is there something in between them that he didn't say Tank? Because he's been promoting Tank for such a long time.
I'm not sure, but Floyd is one of Tank's favorite fighters regardless. Grown man. We won't get into that bullshit, man. If he don't like Tank, then so be it.
Several deeper philosophical questions. One position says that the suffering and happiness of everyone involved should be considered, including the families who depended on the surviving sailors. From a utilitarian perspective, the lives of the sailors and their families could make the decision appear more complicated than simply comparing 3 people against 1. Another position says murder remains wrong even when it produces a better overall outcome. This leads to the larger debate between consequentialist morality, which focuses on results, and categorical morality, which focuses on duties, rights, and the nature of the act itself. The lecture explains that philosophy does not simply give us new facts. Instead, it takes familiar beliefs and forces us to examine them more carefully. That can be uncomfortable because once we seriously question our assumptions, we may never see them in exactly the same way again. Political philosophy also carries risks, because questioning established beliefs can make us less certain about our political and—
On the list, Tank Davis, he sets at probably the number 1. I mean, we've been had back and forth. I think that when you talk about him fighting a Jake Paul, if that was realistic, there's no realistic weight that Jake Paul could have ever come down to Devin's walk-around weight. So I consider this as real. Me and Al have had discussions. That's made it even more real. Never has anyone said anything about any dehydration, rehydration, or anything for that matter. So I think that it should be, and what it should be, is a fair fight. You know, and that weight is to be determined, but it won't be anything under 144 pounds for nobody.
Moral judgments. The temptation is to become skeptical and say that there are no definite answers, that everyone simply has their own opinion. But the lecture argues that skepticism is not enough. These moral questions have existed for centuries, yet they remain unavoidable because we make choices based on them every day. The goal of philosophy is therefore not to provide easy answers, but to awaken our ability to question, reason, and examine the principles behind our decisions. The next part of the lecture returns to utilitarianism and Jeremy Bentham's central claim that the right action is the one that maximizes overall happiness. Bentham believed that pleasure and pain are the forces that guide human behavior, so morality should be based on increasing happiness and reducing suffering for as many people as possible. The historical shipwreck case provides a powerful challenge to that idea because many people still feel that some actions should never be allowed, even when they could save more lives. The discussion eventually identifies 3 major questions for further study. Why should murder be considered absolutely wrong, even when it could benefit more people? Why should a fair procedure, such as a lottery, make a moral difference? And why does consent have the power to turn an otherwise unacceptable act into something people might consider morally permissible? These questions show why moral philosophy is difficult. Our immediate reactions often tell us one thing, while careful reasoning can push us in another direction. The purpose of studying philosophers such as Bentham, John Stuart Mill, Aristotle, Locke, Kant, and others is to examine these conflicts and understand the principles behind our judgments. Philosophy challenges us to think more deeply about justice, rights, equality, freedom, and responsibility, not simply to memorize theories. In the end, the lecture leaves us with an important lesson. Moral questions cannot always be solved by counting lives or following simple rules. We have to examine consequences, intentions, rights, consent, fairness, and the value we place on human life. The real purpose of the course is to keep our minds questioning and to follow that questioning wherever it leads.